Hello, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. Sorry, my camera ran out of battery, and of course I'm restarting recording on my iPhone. But I'm having faith that this channeling needs to be done, so I'm going to keep going with it. When I was changing over my cameras, I did get a lot of clairvoyant images around the water, and particularly plants within the water. And I am guided to say that there are plants that live in water that can be found in lakes and ponds. I'm not so much feeling the sea, but there is a lot in this earth that can assist our health that we don't know about yet. And it's almost like there needs to be a revolution, that we need to go back to the earth and establish that relationship with the earth so that we can get to know what it's almost as if everything that we need, if we live simply enough, everything that we need is provided for us. And I feel that that is not that's not just a Shangri-La. That is actually achievable if we want it to be on this earth right here and right now. But of course, everything is so complicated. Everything is almost is so dense and operating in the dark that if only we were to use the light of consciousness, I'm feeling. To discover and to travel, to move forward, then we could actually find things that are needed right in the here and now, in relation to our health and well-being. So I will take that on board myself. That message came through, I feel, for a reason. I'm just going to put my camera off to the one side. All right, so, what do you want to bring forward? What do you want to bring forward at this time for my viewers? What is critical at this stage of our evolution? Okay. So I'm feeling there's something around when we sleep, and there's also something around relationships with each other. Around the connection that we all have when we're in that dream state. If we only knew how to move within that dream state, there would be a lot to discover about. So I'm just seeing the explorer here. It's almost as if this explorer has left the mine, because I'm getting the image of a miner walking out of the darkness and into the light, walking toward the light. So I'm feeling that one of the main messages is to pay, I know it sounds trite, but to really pay attention to your dreams and to use your imagination and visualization wherever you can, and bringing that light through your body, because it is actually very cleansing when you run that. Even if it's white light or any type of light, really, when you run that energetically and visually through your body, it's quite a healing, cathartic process. So there's one simple thing that we can do. And in the dream space as well, to set your intentions even before you go to sleep. Set your intentions. I want to discover this. I want to explore this, and see where that dream state takes you, and start to use your dream state for discovery, because it is a gift. It is a gift that we have, that we don't necessarily understand what occurs with the brain when we are in that sleep state. We understand the science behind it, the REM, and the various sleep disorders, the various sleep patterns, the way the scientists describe sleep. but they don't know really what occurs, because I'm getting this image of the light in the particular part of the brain that controls sleep. is a portal and a doorway to spirit, to the other life, the after, not the afterlife, it's not afterlife, to life, to life. Okay. And we don't need to take the slow way. We can actually get a leg up, a lift up, and we can get that vantage. We can learn to discover if we only unlock the key to movement. Movement in our mind. And one of the how do we do that? What is the key? That is sleep. That is sleep, and that is imagination, and that is visualization. Okay, so learning to think in pictures, he is telling me, is a very powerful skill. Is a very powerful skill. So there is one small step that you can take to, next time you're thinking, to start to see it in your mind's eye, to start to think in pictures and see where it takes you. Because what he's telling me is you're bound to discover something. Okay. All right, so let's pull. I'll pull some cards now. We will go in and out in this reading. All right, so Mr. Cayce, what would you have liked in your life? Okay, so he says he would have liked some formal education, almost like to have come across like a professor. He would have liked to have done that, to learn more formally and to have those qualifications. But that was not in his grasp due to his, but basically his money circumstances. He was reliant on other people, and you know, this almost like performing in a way like a circus act in a way, in order to get the money to do the work that he wanted to do. And what did he want to do? One of the most important things to him was to not just diagnose but share this as well, the ability to scan the body in an altered state, in the astral state, the ability to scan your own body and make your own diagnosis and then take action to repair something or fix something or address a problem. That's really what he wanted to do with his life, but he was held back by being, and I'm just getting the phrase, at the servitude of others. All right, so the servitude. So that tells me that he was in service in some way. Okay, so I'm getting a pull to a sister of his, and I don't know why she's so important. But it was somebody that he was quite close to. All right. So let's have a look at what are the messages you want to bring through these cards, Mr. Cayce. What are the messages that you want to bring through these cards? What he's saying is that the collective consciousness is weighed down and very heavy at this moment from all the divisions and the fracturing. I'm feeling the fracturing, almost fracturing. It's not cohesive and it's not whole. Our consciousness, our collective, and it's pulling away. It's not. It's unhealthy, basically. What he's telling me. If I can scan it, what he's seeing is that there are almost parts that are pulled away from the whole, and the whole can't function properly, holistically, well, until the other parts are joined. And it is the lesson of the collective to bring those that are isolated back in the fold, and it is those that are isolated, it is their lesson to understand the darkness that they sit within or that they are within. And so I'm getting this draw back to the light of consciousness, the light of spirit, the light of God. I'm getting a drawback to that light. and the I guess the journey is what I'm seeing. So I'm yeah, can be the journey can be long and arduous. And it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that the final destination where we want to go is always a little bit elusive. We've always got to do this travelling, but right at the moment now, he was a traveller. I'm getting he was a traveller. Not a time traveller, I don't think, but a traveller through landscapes, through the astral plane, through the collective consciousness, through the light. And this being that walked with him, that showed him, that guided him, enabled the possibility, enabled all possibilities for him. And of course that was part of the work that he did. But at this time, back to this time, it is around the those that have broken away, coming back into the light. Okay. But that sometimes can be nigh impossible. But it is around getting the vibrational, getting the vibration of the collective consciousness right. And so it's not as if the part, some part has to physically travel back. It's almost like the vibration has to be able to reach out to that which has disentangled itself or broken away. So I'm seeing the collective consciousness as a living, I guess, I won't say organism, that's not the right word, but as a living energy, and it is damaged at the moment. And it's damaged because we haven't, we haven't stopped to repair. We've been careless. And so parts of even someone like Donald Trump is part of the collective, and is, again, when that vibration changes, then he would not then be able to do what he is doing now. So the collective has a role in changing that vibration. The collective isn't powerless. And at the end of the day, someone like Donald Trump is there almost when we scan, again coming back to the way that Edgar Cayce used to diagnose, is representative of the ill health of the collective energetic entity. He's symptomatic, and so Edgar Cayce would have diagnosed Donald Trump as being representative of that collective consciousness, and that not being in good health. And so some of the ways that we can repair that is not to fall into the same cracks as what you will see those that vibrate at the same frequency that Donald Trump vibrates at, not to fall into that frequency, because every time you do, you break away from the whole. You break away, and then there is another process of healing and learning and healing and adjusting that vibrational frequency. So everything is movement, everything is energy, and I feel that he was here to show us a glimpse of that. All right, so let's have a look at what can we learn from your life, Mr. Cayce, from the making possible what would seem to be impossible. What can we learn? So opening your eyes is what I'm feeling and seeing, and seeing something new, seeing in a way that you haven't seen before. So we've got loss and seeing past that as well. This is also the energy of death and rebirth, and transformation. I'm feeling completion again of cycles. So just as the time that he lived in, there were things that the collective needed to learn during his time. This is part of the lessons the collective needs to learn in this time. A lot of tens are coming out, tens and fives, and this is also about the changes that we're currently going through. The illumination, transformation, the light, bringing in the light. And it's around feeling. I feel that I got a draw to the heart chakra when I was reading, when I've been reading on Mr. Cayce, and I feel that the work that he did, even though it was really through the third eye, could not have been possible without activating the heart as well. I feel that the heart was really critical, and that when we attempt to contact our higher selves, it's not done. I don't think it's done through the third eye. It's actually done through the heart. Okay, and often it's done with the help of those around us, and we underestimate how helpful we are to one another. And that is a light-filled topic to talk about, he said. The way that we help one another. The way that, if we think back to the collective, that light and the breaking away and that vibrational frequency, we heal through helping one another. And I have the Lovers card here. That Piscean energy as well. Again, I'm getting a draw to not just connecting with the earth in a new way or a different way to what we're doing now, understanding that there are things that the earth can provide us to heal, because we are part of that organism as well. We're part of the earth's consciousness, because we are part, just like any other living being that inhabits this earth. We are part of the earth. There are things that we can discover that we haven't discovered yet around what she can provide to heal us and help us. And this is the same with our relationships with others. We haven't even touched the surface of how we can help, or how we do help one another. And we may not know it because we're doing it at a collective or at a consciousness level, a subconscious level. We don't understand the way that we help each other. If we did, there'd be less war, and there'd be less fighting, and there'd be less factionalism, he's saying. The Two of Swords. Making decisions, feeling that you have to make a decision in the dark, when really there should be no actual conscious decisions. You should be, if you were living in the light or in that stream of consciousness, you would simply let go and go with the flow. And he's saying sometimes, even though we're not there yet, that's all part of enlightenment to come in the human race. There is some value at various times in letting go and going with the flow, in order to be led where you need to go. The Knight of Cups, I'm getting a lot of water energy in this reading, and I'm getting a big draw to water. The healing power of water, what qualities are in the water, natural water, which actually support life. And I'm getting a real draw to the lily, the pond lily, the things that you find in ponds, that they're able to grow and be sustained by simply being in that water. And so there again is something else that the earth can provide for us, around our water. I'm getting control. I'm getting control, but I'm also getting gateway and the ability to steer that ship, and that comes through, I think, through cooperation with others, and through meeting people at that heart level, but also at the collective consciousness level as well. The power of emotions, and will actually enable you to move mountains. And so again, coming back to this consciousness, there is no confidence or lack of confidence if you're in touch with your higher consciousness. That doesn't even enter into it. So those people that may not be, and I'm getting a draw also to emotions and attitudes, those people who may not be confident, may not be operating at a high enough consciousness, because it's a moot point when you're at that level. And so for someone who is lacking self-worth or questioning their value, simply get in touch with your higher self, get in touch with your higher consciousness, and understand that that's where the real light of your being dwells. I'm getting a pull also to current conditions, the world at the moment. I understand that one of Cayce's predictions was around Russia being a peacemaker. It's anything but at the moment. But I feel in time this prophecy will be seen to be true. Again, changing the vibration, whatever the events are, as we move through even the decades, or the years to come, whatever these events are, however the current situations end, will result in parts of the world who are not on the same vibrational frequency now joining that frequency. So we don't know how Russia is going to lead us in the next decade. We only can see what we see right now. So I'm feeling that there is an evolution taking place. It's constant, and it's growing. And we have the Six of Cups going back to the past. He's telling me that he's giving me the idea that if you want to know your future, go back to the past. He's saying that we know, that we all have those keys to do that, and that we inherently know or intuitively know what needs to be done. And I have the Four of Wands coming back to the collective, coming back to the self, coming back to the light. We are only young at the moment. We've got a lot of climbing to do, and most of the time we do it the hard way. We don't understand that we are capable of going more quickly. We are still on the treadmill. We are still on the treadmill. We are still focused entirely on this earth plane. We are not living at that higher consciousness level. And I'm probably going to finish with the cards here, because the Six of Swords, this movement, this boat in the water, moving away from troubled times, is I think where he wants me to leave it. This energy of this card is both a Mercury and Aquarius. Mercury and Aquarius. So when that's important, this card is important. Something around that planetary configuration, because Cayce understood and used astrology as a almost to give him a initial idea of things. That somehow is important. That particular configuration is important to this reading. I feel that we will move through troubled waters into calmer waters, but first we need to understand why we have this disparity in this energetic vibration, why we've got such divergence of energetic vibration at this time, and that there is a healing of the collective that needs to take place in order for us to move out of those troubled waters. All right, let me just check and see if there's anything else that Mr. Cayce wants to bring through. I think he's saying no. It's and I'm just seeing the light. I'm feeling that Six of Swords, that card, that healing vibration, is where we're going to move into. We're not quite there yet, but that's where we're going. That's the destination. That's the journey, or this part of the journey, this part of the evolutionary journey that we're on at this point in time. So he's thanking me because that was a really important point he wanted to bring through. So I'm sorry this reading is divided into two stages, but unfortunately my camera, I knew before I started that the battery was low, but I just felt however this comes out, whatever way this is presented is the right way, That's what he is saying to me. It's have faith because it's the right way. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for tuning in to Revealing Light Tarot. I hope you enjoyed that almost impromptu channeling. I went with the flow. I went with the flow. So hopefully there are things in there that resonate with you. Thank you again.